Dr. Rashmi Goel. She is daughter of Dr. Asha Goel, and we have been covering this case for a very long time. So I thank you personally for coming today as well. We just wanted to highlight some progress that has happened in the last few days, and that what we are hoping to achieve in the next few months, because the trial has finally started. So we wanted to push this case in the media so people know about this case. It's finally starting after 21 years. So yeah, Rashmi Goel is going to introduce the case again, take you through the journey of this whole case since the very beginning, and then you can ask your questions.
Good afternoon and welcome to all of you. My name is Rashmi Goel and I'm the proud but grieving daughter of Dr. Asha Goel. She was brutally murdered here more than 21 years ago, right here in this city, in Malabar Hill. But I first want to begin by thanking all of you, journalists and the media. You've brought attention to our plight so many times over the years. You've told our story to the world, and through you, we've found solace when the days have been darkest. We knew that someone cared enough to listen to our story, and we hoped that those reports would bring about some positive action. It's now been 21 long years since my mother's murder, and the trial is finally begun. We are very hopeful that with your continued support, my mother's soul will find some peace, and my family will finally obtain justice. Many of you have written stories on my mother's murder before, and there have even been features on television. So you might be familiar with the details, but if you'll indulge me, I'll tell you once again. Dr. Asha Goel was more than a victim. She was a healer, she was a mother, she was a woman who dedicated her life to serving others. My mother was a prominent NRI obstetrician gynecologist living and practicing in Canada. She was born in Mathura, but her family moved to Mumbai when she was 12 years old. She completed her medical studies at Topiwala Medical College here, and she married my father, who's also a medical graduate, in Mumbai in 1963. And she went to Canada when she was only 22 years old. They were two young medical graduates who went abroad to start a new life and build something for their future family. My father had already completed his specialization in pediatrics, and he wanted to go on to specialize in pediatric surgery. But my mom had always been committed to women's health, and she would not waver from wanting to do anything other than obstetrics and gynecology. When the only place in Canada with a fellowship in pediatric surgery was all the way across the country from the fellowship that my mom received in obstetrics and gynecology, my father compromised, and he gave up his desire to do pediatric surgery, and he settled for general surgery so that my mom could pursue her dream. She completed her fellowship, and she was admitted to the Society of Obstetricians and Gynecologists of Canada as one of the youngest admittees ever, and that's still true today. Although my parents worked very hard and they built a life in Canada and they had to have 3 children and build a busy practice, they never let go of their roots. And those 3 children are my older brother Sanjay, myself, and my younger sister Seema. My mother was a proud daughter of India. She raised the 3 of us to be proud children of India too. And if there's one word I could use to describe my mother, it would be devoted. She was devoted to her family. She was devoted to her children. She was devoted to her patients and her practice at the hospital. She worked incredibly hard, many times 7 days a week, 14 hours, 16-hour days. She delivered over 10,000 babies in her career. And she said a blessing over every life that she welcomed into the world. And patients will tell you this. They remember that when their baby was born, my mother softly stopped and whispered a blessing into that child's ear to welcome them into the world. She was the one who handled all the high-risk pregnancies and all the most difficult cases. She saved countless babies and mothers. There are children who are named after my mother, even from American families, where their daughters are named Asha, because my mother saved a child that people thought could not be saved. Everyone who knew her knew how much she genuinely cared. Some of her patients would drive 3 or 4 hours to see her because they weren't comfortable with a male doctor, or they weren't comfortable explaining their conditions in English. She herself drove a full hour each way every week to see patients, almost all of Indian origin, in a clinic dedicated to immigrant women. And she was a great benefactor in the community. Everyone at Hindu Sabha Mandir knew her as Asha Goel. She was a devout Hindu, hosting satsangs, sponsoring pravachans, and she was a pillar of the community. I wish you could have known her. Everyone would light up when she came into the room. She was a woman of quick wit and tremendous dedication. She had a bright smile. She was a light, and people would recognize it. Strangers would recognize it. We feel so fortunate to be able to have called her our mother. For us, she was a pillar of the community, but for us, most of all, she was the center of our family, and her loss has devastated us. My father, a remarkable surgeon in his own right, who has saved countless lives, performed tens of thousands of procedures, has been completely broken by this. He's in his late 80s now. He is weaker. He can't travel to India. He still cries for my mother. And if you have elderly parents, you know how what the pain is to see your parent cry for the loss of their life partner. They were so close that they had adjoining offices and they performed surgery together. Patients were so lucky that they got 2 doctors with such tremendous skill working together to save their lives. He used to say that they see each other more at the hospital, or as much at the hospital as they used to see each other at home. We pray that we will see justice in his lifetime, because he's much older now. My brother Sanjay, a businessman in Vancouver, Canada, has devoted the past 21 years of his life to this. He's endured so much as he's persevered in seeking justice. I, as his sister, feel almost as though his life has stopped. He never married. He never had children. His health has suffered in ways I can't even recount. But he comes every year, several times a year, seeking justice. The only time he didn't come was during lockdown, when the courts were closed and he couldn't travel. For my younger sister, Seema, who's an artist and an educator, who was married just 2 weeks before Mom's murder, she was on her honeymoon when my mother was murdered. And for me, the pain of losing a mother this way and seeing our children grow up without a grandmother, it's almost impossible to bear. My mother was one of 7 siblings, 3 brothers and 4 sisters. In August 2003, just 2 weeks after my sister's wedding, she came to India to visit her ailing brother, elder brother Suresh, and he was suffering from kidney failure. He couldn't come to Canada to perform the pot ceremony, and my mother was very worried about his health. So she came to see him, to share some happy moments with him, to create some happy memories, maybe the last ones, as his health was failing. She hoped also that she could convince her elder brother Suresh and the middle brother Subhash, who was living in Canada, to finally give the youngest brother, Shekhar, who lives in Los Angeles, his share of their father's property. She advised Suresh to solve the problem while he was alive, and not to leave it hanging over the next generation. She reminded them that their father's wishes were well known, and that he had wanted the brothers, his sons, their brothers, to each get their share. Instead, on the very last night, before she was due to return home, she was brutally murdered by multiple assailants. There were over 20 points of injury. They beat her, they kicked her, they stabbed her. The assault went on for several minutes. It was not a quick end. She fought for her life. And when all the beating was not enough, they crushed her skull with a granite baseboard. Even seasoned medical examiners were shocked and horrified by the brutality of this attack. My mother was only 62. This all happened in her ancestral home, in Suresh's residence, on the 14th floor of the Sudhakar building in the upscale Malabar Hill neighborhood. And I remember Mumbaikars were shocked that this could happen to a senior citizen in such a posh area. And I'm a professor, I'm actually a professor of law and in America. And I remember when I got the news, it was just the first week of the semester. And we flew immediately. We arrived just 2 days after the murder. And police told us that the murder would be solved quickly. I had such hope. I believed them. But instead, despite one early arrest, the case languished. It had to be transferred to DCBCD in late 2004, more than a year after the murder. When Inspector Hargade took up the case, he had to start so many things over again. It was his hard work that led to arrests in early 2005 of Pradeep Parab, Pawan Kumar Goenka, Manohar Shinde, and Narendra Goel. The naming of my mother's own two brothers, Suresh and Subhash, as the accused who planned the whole thing over the property. And as much as we were glad and grateful that the case has been cracked, we wished it would not be her two brothers. Those people I used to call Mamaji, who were the culprits. But we don't doubt the police or their hard work, and the physical evidence and the statements of the accused, especially the statement of the accused who turned approver, this is shown to be the truth. Even with the confession by one of the assailants, this did not bring us to trial. Over 14 years, Special Public Prosecutor Raja Thackeray stewarded the case, but even he could not get us to trial. We have appeared each and every time the court has required us. My brother and my family together have traveled to get to India over 100 times. We've literally crossed 7 seas to be here every time, hoping. In these years, 2 accused have died. Several witnesses have died. And we fear sometimes that justice will never come. We fear that the hard work of the police will not yield success. But we keep coming. Because for us, justice for our mother is the most important thing. We don't know what forces have been involved in delaying the case to this point. But we have high hopes that now that the trial has started, justice will be done. I've written a letter to the Chief Minister Fadnavis, who is also the Law Minister, asking for his help. Now that the trial has started, can he please help us to ensure that justice is done? My mother was very loved. Like I said, I wish you could have met her. She would have been a light in your lives too. She had tens of thousands of patients that she cared for. And she was loved by everyone. Over the years, we've heard from many, many people who loved and admired her. They are shocked to hear that we're only starting the trial now. They're dismayed to hear that despite overwhelming evidence, forensic evidence, physical evidence, and a confession, we have not obtained justice. India's reputation has suffered. They think that India must be a lawless place where criminals can get away with anything. But India is our motherland, and we still have hope. We often ask if we, with our persistence and our resources and our education and our determination, if we can't achieve justice, then what about those who don't have these resources? Because there are many, many people who have, unfortunately, this thing which we would not wish to happen to anybody, who have lost family members to violent crime and who are unable to achieve justice like us. We know that it happens. How can this be what India stands for? If India is ever to be a global leader, it has to start with the rule of law. It has to start with integrity of the justice system. It has to start with the lessons of Gandhiji and India's independence. Those are the lessons my mother taught us about hard work and service, about devotion, about the struggle for justice, about the fight for equality. We're pleading with you now to continue to help us achieve justice and equality for our mother, as a woman who was so brutally murdered. Please continue to keep your attention on this case so that we might achieve justice, so that my mother's soul and my family may find